You're listening or watching live on YouTube to episode 117 of Rochester's #1 podcast, The Tan and J-Man Show. We have a special guest in studio. What is this, Cam? Like your sixth appearance on The Tan and J-Man Show? Fifth, but one of our favorite guests, if not our favorite guest, Cameron Screeton.
So happy to be here again.
Good?
I love The Tan and J-Man Show.
What's good? What's good, Cam?
Well, what's good is... not my sports team.
I was going to say what's not good.
Cubs baseball is coming up. Yeah. Pitchers, catchers reported today?
2 days.
2 days.
Is what I saw, yes.
Yeah.
And the Hoosiers have been struggling a little bit.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
I'm sure you're going to have some comments on them. But
I do.
J-Man, did you bring any Birdie Bogey with you?
I do have a trivia question for y'all. So, North Carolina basketball, we don't talk about them much. But Kobe White, who is a freshman, scored 33 points for the second time this season on Saturday, which is technically, that'd be like third all-time freshman scoring record in North Carolina history. But who are the two freshmen that are tied for the highest scoring game in North Carolina history? Each had 40 during their freshman seasons. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint. Both of them have happened in the last 15 years.
Oh, that took away one of my guesses. It wasn't Jordan either.
Wasn't Jordan, no.
I had another guess, and that kind of takes that away.
I have some guesses.
Yeah. I think you guys have a legitimate shot at both getting them this week.
Let's get it, Tam.
All right. Yeah, I struggle whenever we have a guest. And
Connor
the guest usually gets it right and I don't. Or
Con man out.
It's hard to figure out the order.
Outdueled you.
Yeah, he did. But the Birdie Bogey segment is brought to you by, like it is every week, the Noble Gnome LLC, fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce grown in Mentone, Indiana by my cousin Bryce Romine and his wife Katie Romine. They do have their website up now. It's the noblegnomellc.com. He's selling, I would call them stocks. I don't know if that's the right word for them, but he's selling them in the Warsaw, Plymouth, and Rochester area, as well as Zionsville, Westfield, and Carmel. Only a certain amount available to buy, so if you want some fresh produce delivered every week between the start of May through the end of September, better get on the noblegnomellc.com and take advantage. So check them out on Facebook and on Instagram. And I got a little on this day segment. I'm going to make you guys a little smarter this evening.
I don't know if that is possible.
You guys look like you need a little smarts.
I do.
I do not think that's possible.
No. On this day segment is brought to you by Spot On and John Mars. If your business takes credit cards, then you should call John and let Spot On take care of your needs. Low rates, transparent pricing, free processing equipment, no special fees, no contracts, and John as your customer service representative. Time to be treated like you should, no matter your size. Call John at 574-835-1528 for a free quote today. Make your business run spot on. And on this day, on February 11th, throughout sports history, we don't have a ton of things that have happened, but on this day in 1878,
long time ago,
the first U.S. bicycle club called the Boston Bicycle Club formed.
All right.
Yeah. What do you think about that, J-Man?
That's some interesting tidbits.
That's a sport you're going to take up.
We should start a bicycle club. Me and you, we could bike around the city of Rochester.
Nickel Plate Trail. They got a nice little trail out there to bike around.
What is Nickel Plate Trail?
Moving on, on this day in 1952, the second NBA All-Star game was played at the Boston Garden. The East beat the West 108-91.
What year was that?
1952.
Yeah.
Can you name the MVP? He played for the Philadelphia Warriors.
I was going to say George Mikan. Philadelphia Warriors back in the 50s. Oh, let's see here. I don't know.
Paul Arizin.
Oh.
Arizin. I don't know if I pronounced
Hall of Famer.
Yes. Let's see here. On this day, 1966, Hall of Famer giant outfielder Willie Mays signs the highest contract in baseball at $130,000 per year. That was a lot of money.
Over how many years?
1966, that'd say.
Oh, wow.
But
I wonder what that'd be with inflation like today.
Yeah.
I mean, it not nearly what they're getting now. It's maybe $3 million.
Yeah.
Wonder what the average player was making back then.
I'm going to say 27 grand.
On this day in 1990, the 40th NBA All-Star Game was played in Miami Arena. The East beat the West 130 to 113. MVP was Magic Johnson.
I was going to say
The
Patrick
Los
Ewing.
Angeles Lakers.
0 for 2.
Also, that same night on this day in 1990, a huge upset happened in boxing
Buster Douglas?
as James Buster Douglas KO'd
1
Mike,
for 3.
1 for 3.
Get it, babe.
I'm kidding.
KO'd Mike Tyson in the 10th round in Tokyo, Japan to win the world heavyweight boxing title.
You're hitting 333. That's Hall of Fame.
It is.
That's Hall of
Man.
Fame.
That's Tony Gwynn line.
On
Tony
this,
Gwynn.
on this day in 1996, the 46th NBA All-Star Game was played in Alamo Dome, San Antonio, Texas. East beat the West 129 to 118. MVP was Michael
I
Jordan.
was going to say, let us guess. Ruining it for us. I give you a trivia question all the time. I never get a guess.
On this day in 1997, Bill Parcells became the head coach of the New York Jets.
Who did he draft with his first draft pick?
I have no idea.
I don't either. I was going to say Keyshawn, but I think he was the year before.
And on this day in 2001, the 50th NBA All-Star Game was played in MCI Center in Washington, D.C. The
Allen Iverson.
East, you can look at the screen. That's how you're seeing this. But the East beat the West 111 to 1.
It was
Allen
Allen
Iverson. I was just guessing he's reading the screen because he kind of did this. And yes, but that was AI. So that is
Yeah, there's 5.
that is the On This Day segment this week brought to you by John Mars and Spot On. All right, boys, we've got a lot to talk about, a lot of college hoops to talk about. But first off, we have some news on the gridiron. And, of course, in the NFL, we're not talking – well, we could talk a little AAF, I guess. I didn't watch too much this weekend, but we'll get to that later. But we'll talk NFL first. Big news today, the Cleveland Browns signed former Chief running back Kareem Hunt. Thoughts?
Interesting. I'm all about giving people second chances. So we'll see how this plays out. I mean, they will easily be the most interesting team in the NFL heading into next year with Baker. You have the new head coach, Freddie Kitchens, Juice Landry's there, Myles Garrett. I mean, they have a ton of storylines. And now with this one, Kareem Hunt, I kind of wish they would have waited a year and done Hard Knocks this year instead of last year. But it's interesting. It makes them better. So we'll see.
I think it gives Baker another weapon. And, I mean, I think they're on the way up, man.
Yeah.
The Browns are looking really good.
Yeah,
really fast.
I said a few weeks ago on the podcast I thought the Browns would win the AFC North within 3 years. I think you
I
push
think it
that up.
happens next year.
Yeah.
Bogey.
Yeah, it's they're gonna be scary. I mean, you're talking Baker, you got Jarvis, you got Njoku, you got Nick Chubb as another running back.
Duke Johnson's still there too. He
Pretty
catches the
decent-
ball
pretty
out
decent
there
line.
back,
They got some nice pieces on defense. The Browns are coming. The Steelers are getting older. The Ravens are and then the Bengals are terrible. So
Bengals will be the second worst team in the NFL next year.
yeah, I can see it. How many games do you think Kareem's suspended?
I'm gonna go. They set it at 8. He'll appeal, and it ended up being 4.
4 to 6, probably.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I saw somebody say 10 on Twitter. I think
Probably
that's-
deserves to be suspended the whole season.
I
but
think
he
10.
won't
I
be.
think 10's a little high, personally.
Because Roger Goodell's a panty waste.
Anyways, that's the first time that's been used on the Tana J.
Won't be the last either.
Won't be the last. And then the other big news in the NFL is Kyler Murray today. He's officially fully focused on football, saying bye-bye to the A's and the MLB. You guys are big baseball fans. Your thoughts on that?
It's man, he gets to make a whole lot more money right away.
Yep.
He puts his body way more at risk, obviously playing in the NFL. But I mean, I think multiple teams have guaranteed him they would take him in the first round. It's hard to turn down that first round NFL money. I did read today that he did not tell the Athletics of his plans until he announced it on Twitter, which is kind of a dick move. But follow your dreams, kids.
Yeah,
I think it's the right choice. I
do
mean,
too.
when you're looking at it, you're a first round quarterback, and today's money, it makes sense. And plus, I heard football's his love, and like you have the choice. But I mean, play the sport you want to do. I mean, it makes sense to me.
He also said the reason why he wanted to play 1 year of football is to have a choice between playing Major League Baseball or professional football. And obviously, Major League Baseball wasn't guaranteed. I mean, he'd have to play well to just get to the major leagues. So he gets to be in the prime time right away here in a few months.
Yep. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doesn't make it past the Dolphins at 13 in the draft. The Dolphins either take him at 13 or somebody takes him beforehand.
I think Dolphins would trade up for him. At least
Really?
that's kind of what I mean, if he's not going to be there at 13, I want the Dolphins to trade up for him. Because I think he can
could
be an
at 13.
absolute superstar.
Yeah.
Wait, this is it's kind of on topic, but a little off topic. So, in order to be or just to even get to the major league level, you just have to be an absolute superstar in the minor leagues. And I read the average fifth outfielder in the major leagues had a slash line of like 283, 357, and 440 in the minor leagues, and they are just fourth outfielders in major leagues. So, I mean, it'd be incredibly difficult just to get to that point, and so I think football's the right choice for him.
Yeah, it's we'll see. I don't know. I wouldn't mind the Broncos taking a look at him at 10. I don't know if he fits the criteria that Elway likes in quarterbacks, which isn't a good criteria because it hasn't worked out for him. So
I've heard a lot of people say, like, you can say, oh, well, baseball's safer. Like, you're not going to get hurt. But the way they protect the quarterback now, it just makes it even more appealing to Kyler if I'm Kyler.
I did read today the Giants, I think he's the owner. I don't remember who said it, but the Giants said, I think he's a little too small to play quarterback for us. And thinking, that might have worked 10 years ago, but the way the league's trending, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, you look at the quarterback needy teams up there in the draft, Giants. You know, they got to start thinking about replacing Eli. Jaguars have to get a quarterback if they don't try to trade for Foles. Broncos probably need to plan for plan B if Keenum doesn't drastically turn around this year. Dolphins. And then you got the Redskins, but I don't know. That hinges on Alex Smith's leg. And I can see them being players for Foles, but would the Eagles trade Foles to a division rival? I have a tough time seeing that.
Watch out for the Oakland Raiders in taking a quarterback early. I think they will absolutely shop Derek Carr here once the new league starts here in about a month.
If so, I would hope the Broncos could get on him, but once again, doubt they'd trade it to a league division rival.
Yep.
But
I mean,
I'd be all about that.
Unless the price is right. I mean, I'm sure Denver doesn't want to give up a first-round pick for Derek Carr in the division either.
No, that's true.
And I assume that's what they'll be asking for, or something like that.
I still don't necessarily love any of the quarterbacks in the draft.
I don't either.
I'm cool with going with DeAndre Baker, cornerback from Georgia.
Which I saw McShay mocked him, I think, on Saturday or Friday.
McShay and Kuiper both have him at Denver at 10. And I also like why do I always forget his name? Cornerback LSU.
Greedy Williams.
Greedy Williams. He's another one. I knew it started with the G. Yeah, Greedy Williams is another one. I just think they need to go corner. I don't think they're going to re-sign Bradley Roby when they got Chris Harris Jr. Besides that, they got nothing back there, so they're going to need some help.
And, I mean, we still have the combine to go. And
there's a lot of
two more months. And you see guys that are mocked in the top 10 now that won't be taken until, like, the fourth round.
Yeah, last year at this time, we didn't think Baker Mayfield was going to be – we didn't even know if he's going to be a first-round pick, let alone number one overall pick. So.
I remember a few years ago, Carson Wentz was thought of as like a fourth, fifth round kind of developmental pick, and he was so good during the draft process, he went number 2 overall. So guys like that as well.
We'll have to wait and see. It's a fun time. Like I said last week, NFL doesn't really ever have an off season, even though it does. But switching gears, staying with football, but switching gears a little bit. Did you guys watch any of the AAF's debut weekend?
I watched a little bit. It's an interesting league. I mean, ratings were really good that first night. They outdrew whoever was playing on ABC.
Thunder.
Yep.
Now, could it be just people are curious about the new league? And I mean,
XFL ratings were great the first weekend.
And then 3 weeks later, they about disbanded.
The XFL blew it week 2 with their big primetime game. They had trouble with the signal, with the TV trucks. It was a great game. And I
love that the AAF is doing, they're miking up the quarterbacks and coaches. That's really cool. And they mic'd up the replay official.
That was really neat.
Which I really wish they would do that in the NFL, just to have more transparency of what's happening.
That was neat.
And I think they have a pretty good ceiling of being a developmental league, which is something the XFL has no interest in doing. And I think this is huge for both the NFL and these guys straight out of college that didn't make camp or whatever. But Christian Hackenberg is in it.
He was god awful.
nuts.
He went 10 for 23, 86 yards a pick, and he got benched.
He's not a good quarterback. I mean,
He's done horrendous. That's one of the. I mean, it was a second-round pick, so there's less of a bust label.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was one of the worst picks ever.
Yeah, that was a bad pick. But you also, I mean, you look at some of the coaches you have around the league. I mean, Mike Martz, Riley. I'm trying to think of some of the other coaches that down there. Dolphins former defensive coordinator
Kevin Coyle.
Kevin Coyle. Yeah, there's some decent coaches down there. But then you look at the XFL, which starts next year in 2020. Bob Stoops is on board.
Right.
That's huge for them. I mean, that's Vince McMahon's got the money to throw around, so we're gonna have to see where that goes. I think they're gonna, like you said, Josh. I don't think they want to be as a developmental league as an AAF. I think they want to compete with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll
just have to see.
I agree with Josh. I think sustainability for both of these leagues is going to be big. Like, yeah, week one you're going to see it, but what's it going to look like moving forward with viewers? I think that's going to be huge. It's funny hearing those names like Hackenberg, saw Trent Richardson.
Yeah, he was terrible too. There was a thing on Twitter. He had a huge hole to the right and he ran to the left. So it's like
nothing's changed.
I think it was Barstool Sports or not. I think it was not Sports Center. Said and our buddy Connor was telling me this. It said the AAF makes history by signing the first blind running back. It was pretty funny.
And Mike DeBoard, IU's former offensive coordinator, his offense put up 6 points.
Nice.
So,
Who's he?
I'm not sure.
With the team Orlando played against.
Well, the opening night team.
Yeah,
one of those teams.
Former Purdue quarterback for 3 years, and then Florida quarterback Austin Appleby ran for a touchdown late. He's the backup for the Orlando Apollos, I want to say, or something like that.
Now, they have a pool of players they can choose from, I was reading. Like the Orlando Apollos can choose from like the Dolphins, Giants, Jets, and the Bucs.
Yes. The Broncos team is the Salt Lake City team.
I mean, I wouldn't call them affiliate, but these are.
But they're working with NFL. I mean, NFL Network's going to air one of the games.
They did last night. They're
airing one this upcoming next weekend too. So it's going to be interesting. That's for sure. More football. I mean, it might get tuned in every week. No, but if there's nothing else on, because sometimes it's pretty dead, especially on Sundays. If you don't like golf or college basketball's on early on Sundays, and then you don't have much to watch. So. One more thing before we talk college basketball, because that's going to take up majority of the podcast. Phil Mickelson won this morning, I should say, because they couldn't get the last two holes in because of darkness yesterday, but he won at the AT&T Pro-Am at Pebble Beach. His fifth win of his career at Pebble Beach, 44th win of his career altogether. He's had a pretty good year so far. He's had a tie for second. He beat Tiger in the match, and now he wins at Pebble Beach. His only missed cut was in Phoenix last week at the Waste Management. Guess where the U.S. Open is this year?
Phoenix.
No. Pebble Beach, where he won. So I think Phil's got a. Why not? Why not this year? He's never won the U.S. Open. Why not? Why not happen at Pebble?
For those of you that don't follow Phil Mickelson on social media, please follow him. He's awesome.
Yeah,
on social media. He's great.
He's pretty good. He definitely. He's funny. He's cocky in his own way, but he provides some good feedback, instruction. Yeah, and he's a guy I never thought would get Instagram. He's been pretty good.
Is he 48, 49?
48, I believe. Yeah, he's close to senior tour, but I don't know if he'll ever play on the senior tour. He's just too competitive on the tour. But it was nice to see him get that win. He's off to a really, really good start this year, and anytime you can get a win at that age of 48 is good, especially in a big event like this. But like I said, he likes Pebble, so look out for him in the U.S. Open. I know I say it a ton, but last year he was horrendous in the U.S. Open last year. If you remember what happened there with the whole stopping the putt, wise emotion and everything. It wasn't a good year for him publicity-wise. But and I thought he handled the controversy last night with Paul Casey with the darkness pretty good. Phil wanted to keep playing. He wanted to get those last two in because he was feeling it. Paul Casey did not want to. He did not want to play those last two holes because he's trying to battle for second for FedEx Cup points for multiple reasons, and then his amateur partner was up there when they ended up winning. So that was big for the amateur. I mean, I understand why he didn't want to play, but I understand why Phil wanted to play too, because he could have came out today dead cold, only up 3 shots, go bogey or something, lose the tournament. But he got a birdie or a par birdie finish, and Casey went par birdie, and Phil wins by 3.
Yeah.
So, and the greens were in better conditions, and Phil even said it was the right move, waiting until today. So, all right, now we can talk some college basketball. Cam, why don't we start off with you, man? Your Hoosiers at one time were 10-2 or 10-3, I think, 12-2, and yeah, they've lost 9 of the last 10 and haven't won at home since January 3rd. They lost yesterday to a Ohio State team that I just quite frankly don't think's that good.
They're not.
And they lost 55-52. Fire away, man.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on this, and a lot of this is my own opinion. So, being an IU fan my whole life, it's pretty tough. I wrote down some stuff on trying to be positive throughout this. I don't want to be that annoying fan. I know like IU fans kind of have a reputation of being a little annoying.
All fan bases.
Oh, they do.
I know I still got that in me a little bit, but I think the positive things, I know I told you guys, I was like, I'm pretty done with Archie, and it's year 2. And I don't want to be that guy. It's like, fire the coach, year 2.
I've been there.
But like, especially at a college basketball program, like positives, I think this team is very much better defensively than in the Korean years. I think nationally, I got it down. It's 52nd right now nationally in defensive efficiency, which is up from previous years. In Korean, we were always in the hundreds or the 90s. So defensive efficiency is up, and that's what Archie bases his teams off of. If you look at his later years at Dayton, it was a lot of that was his focus. He's a defensive coach. He's a defensive guy. And then I think it's only year 2 with Archie, so you can't. A lot of people like want him gone. After losing 9-10 at Indiana, I don't think that's really ever happened. I mean, Green, I know his first couple years after all the Kelvin sanctions stuff. So that was a much tougher situation than Archie's in right now. And then so you want to see a coach fully implement his system with his guys.
Sorry for everybody watching on YouTube, but having a little technical difficulty here with this.
It's a lot better. Beautiful. We're back.
We're good.
We're back.
Good. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
It was definitely my fault. I was talking with my hands and I accidentally hit it.
It was Josh's fault, but
it's always my fault.
Yep.
Another positive, Indiana's landing better in-state talent. I think it's obvious landing Romeo Langford, landing Trace Jackson Davis in the mix for Keon Brooks. I think that was a big focus that a lot of the fan base wanted. I think obviously Fred Glass wanted being the athletic director. Crean, especially in his later years, really didn't go after that top in-state talent. Talk about misses like with Gary Harris. You could talk about a lot of different guys. Trayvon Blewett. The team has been injured a lot this year, off and on. So I think that's another thing that people point to. I know looking at Devontae Green gets suspended, Deron Davis, who's been playing great lately, missed a lot of time. Also, Romeo's been hurt with his thumb. Finney was out with concussion for a while. So, I mean, if you look across the board, a lot of guys have missed time, which it's hard to get into flow with that. But a lot of these are excuses, and I'm gonna get on it. But also, I don't think a coach should be blamed for all of the struggles.
Sure. No.
Being I was former college baseball coach. I get but at the end of the day, it's pointed back at the coach, and I realize, and it should be. But sometimes you can't always point the finger there. And here's my big thing. I think the team is playing under its potential. That's the biggest thing to me. Is with guys like Romeo and Jawan, I don't think a team should lose 9-10. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it just feels like there's way too much talent on this Indiana team for them to lose 9 of 10, to lose 4 straight at home, where they don't. It's so hard to play. In years past, they're not making it seem super difficult right now. kind of the way I don't want to. It's hard to say you're in a serious rebuild, like Fred Glass came out and said, which made me absolutely furious. I think it's a lot of excuse making. I think it's a lot of I think overall the IU has such a problem with its identity right now. I heard Mark Titus talk about this. He was on a podcast, not his own, but a different one, talking about IU and what does IU athletics expect from their basketball team? And I think that's lost right now. There's no Tom Crean was fired because his teams were inconsistent, but yet he won a Big Ten title in 2013 and 2016, which hasn't happened. I mean, 2000 was the last year IU won a Big Ten. I have to look it up.
I'm gonna look that up.
And then before that, I don't know. I don't know the last time Bob Knight, because I know IU struggled in the late 90s. But it's like, to me being a fan that's more these recent teams, but growing up, with Kelvin Sampson, growing up with Mike Davis, with Tom Crean in his early years, that was huge success for me. And I know I'm a Crean homer, which is, I like offense. I don't like boring slugfest defense. We were talking about a baseball team, pitching duels. But it's hard to see with a guy like Romeo Langford, with a guy like Juwan Morgan, when you're saying you're rebuilding with those guys. Like that's just, it's frustrating to me. Like, and overall, I don't know what sorry, I jumped off my point, but going back to the identity, it's like, what do Indiana fans expect? It's like we fired Tom Crean because, we can't get past the Sweet 16. We can't compete every year for a Big Ten title. And now it's like, I see people like, we're playing hard. It's like, we're in this game. It's like, that's great, but like, what do we expect? You're looking, Fred Glass comes out and it's a serious rebuild. We're trying to get the program back. Well, back to 1992, and it's a mix of fans. You got a fan like me, a fan like my brother,
the newer generation
who's grown up and hasn't seen much success throughout the program. And I don't think IU is a top 10. It's not a Kansas, it's not a Kentucky, like the older generation thinks it is. Mm-hmm. And I just think there's kind of like a mix of like, what is success?
Yeah.
What is success at IU? You can look at Illinois. You're rebuilding right now. Like you said, as long as we play better and like get back to going to the tournament and seeing progress. For Purdue, it is competing for a Big Ten every year with Matt Painter. And, it's more of an expectation now. And like, we want to win the Big Ten. We want to go deep in the tournament.
If Purdue finishes year strong, they are right now the only team in the Big Ten that has got the double bye to make the tournament every year since it's expanded to 14. They can keep that going again this year. They're in good position. That's having a lot of conference success every year.
Absolutely. And I just think it's frustrating to me as a fan, just watching a team struggle so bad when you have like this overwhelming, like, we lived in these glory days. We should have a program that's better than this. But the biggest thing I see, my issues with Archie, basically I just haven't seen. I think it's coming from my baseball coaching, but like I love player development. I love when guys get better year to year. When you see guys improve year to year individually, that makes your team better. And that's what I think Tom Crean does a great job of. I think Matt Painter does a good job. Brad Underwood obviously does a good job with that, with guys getting better in their years. But looking back, just from last year to this year, I use offensive efficiency numbers have gone down. Shooting percentage has gone way down with a much, much similar team. I know you lose Rob Johnson, which is a big loss, a senior guard that's played 4 years. But outside of that, you don't lose a whole lot. And seeing guys' shooting percentages go down, seeing guys' offensive efficiency numbers go down, that points at coaching. And I know Archie's a defensive coach, and I know. But it's just hard for me to watch, and when there's lack of adjustments being made offensively and guys not improving. And I know through a season you're not going to improve, but from year to year, it's hard to say, like, why isn't this guy better? Why isn't that guy better? And relying on this next year mentality. I remember last year when IU got beat in the Big Ten tournament to Rutgers, it was like, if we land Romeo, we're going to be Big Ten champs next year. And then going back, and now if we lose 7 in a row, and our AD comes out, oh, we're in a serious rebuild second year. I know he probably had to say that, but at the same time, it's like, what? That goes back to that identity. What are you expecting as a program and the fan base sit back and watching loss after loss after loss?
It starts at the top. It starts with Fred Glass, the athletic director, and the culture of Indiana sports. What is the culture of Indiana sports? Even football. What's the expectation? Those have to be set. The lines got to be drawn in the sand, and then trickle down.
Yeah.
Going back to serious rebuild, it'd be a whole lot different if they were guaranteed like 3 years of Romeo, but he's going to be there 1 year.
Yep,
I mean,
exactly.
When you lose your best player,
That's
the year after, the year after you get him.
Is it fair to say they're wasting? I mean, they're wasting the year of Romeo.
I honestly think they are. I mean, and I know a lot of people criticize the defense, criticize the shooting. I think he is an extreme talent. I think
he's starting to shoot a lot better.
Yeah, and I do think the supporting cast around him isn't very good. And obviously, Romeo is a slasher. He's a driver. He's great at getting to the hole. And when you have a team that can't shoot and other teams can pack it in, it makes that difficult to do. And so I think that's when, like, for example, when Aljamain and Devontae Green knocked down some threes against Michigan State, opened it up a little bit, spread it out for Romeo. Even our last couple possessions, I know we were down 1, and I thought it was Archie's best play call of the year. We got Romeo in space, created space for him, and he got a driving layup to put IU back up 1. And it's just you don't see a whole lot of setting up for Jawan's success, setting up for Romeo's success. It's kind of like, here, like, let's run our same offense and let's hope we make some shots this time. Let's hope we do this. And it's frustrating to see lack of adjustments. It's frustrating to keep going in and just like seeing lack of effort stuff. That points right back to coaching.
It's almost like Archie says, this is our system. We're not going to run any counters off of it. We're going to do the same thing, as you said, over and over again.
And you hear he's implementing this, I'm implementing my guys, my system. And that I want to wait for that. And I understand Archie's not going to get fired after this year. But it's frustrating to see. I don't think he's done a very good job. I don't think the team has played up to their potential whatsoever. And it's hard to sit back and defend an IU with, like we talked about, no identity, no expectations. It's like, what is this? Like, what are we trying to do here?
Do you think he came in a little in over his head? Coming from Dayton, where he had some success, but he only made one deep tournament run. That was Sweet 16 a couple of years ago. He's taken over.
He go to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, well, I think.
Okay, Elite Eight.
Lost to Syracuse.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's taken over a program that's nationally known for a very good tradition. Trying to kind of run it like he did at Dayton. I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, it's honestly the worst shooting team I've seen in my years in Indiana as being an Indiana fan. I think he is right now a little bit in over his head. I'd like to see next year what that looks like.
Well, now he's got an enormous amount of pressure on him.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just going to grow. I'm guessing they're not going to make the tournament. They still can, but they're going to have to get hot and get some good wins coming down the stretch. And this week up at the barn, it's not going to be an easy task at all.
Right.
But
and then you got Purdue.
Yeah, which that still scares me, though. I mean, Purdue's had success lately at Assembly Hall, and they're due to not play well down there. But anyways, and so guessing they don't make the tournament, I think he's on the hot seat going in next year. I really do.
I do too. It's kind of crazy. I think the reason why people were so excited about Archie is because he's not, I don't want to say opposite, but he's a very different coach from Tom Crean.
Very different.
And so a lot of people didn't like Crean's antics, Crean's decision-making, kind of his weird deal with player. He's kind of weird on the sidelines.
Love for Diet Coke.
Yeah, a lot of different things. But if you look at it, I think they kind of went with an opposite guy and just thought, let's take the negatives from Crean. But you got to realize there's positives that go along with it. And every coach is going to be that way. They're going to be better at this. They're going to be better at that. But it's like, Archie's going to be great at landing in-state recruits. Archie's going to be great at getting our defense better. Well, that's great. Well, you're also lacking player development. You're lacking offensive efficiency. Have gone way down each year. So you got to find a way to counter that.
I also don't think that Archie was their number one choice. I could be wrong, but
you got to name names now.
I thought Billy Donovan. That was the big rumor that they at least were going to reach out to him. I mean, I'm not saying. I'm guessing Archie was probably the first person they brought in.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing they reached out to Billy. I'm guessing they reached out to Steve Alford. There was too much noise. There was too much noise.
I heard the Donovan thing. I heard Brad Stevens. I heard
they're still talking about that. I saw Crimson Quarry. I think had a I'm coming home
joke
thing.
around about
They photoshopped Stevens because there is a lot of drama going on with Celtics right now.
Yeah,
there's a lot of drama. Maybe he wants to come back to college, but I still don't think he's coming back to college. But who knows?
If Brad Stevens went to Fred Glass and said, "I want to be Indiana's coach next year," Archie.
Oh yeah, but I'm
Yep.
just saying I don't think Brad's coming back to college unless Coach K's done. I could see him come back Duke's next year.
Yeah, that's good.
Or something like that. But I mean, if he wins a championship with Boston, which they still could make the finals this year, but going back to your point earlier, you were asking me when IU's last Big Ten title was before 13. It was 02.
Yeah.
Before there was 93.
Yeah.
So
10-year gap in between each one.
Yeah, but then before then it was pretty good. 91, 89, 87,
Right,
83, 81, 80,
A lot
76,
more,
75, 74, 73.
Yeah.
I mean, but you even look at the NCAA tournaments appearances. Since the year 2000, you got 2000, 2001, 2, and 3, and then missed 4 and 5. But you had 6, 7, 8, and then you had the bad rebuilding stretch, 9, 10, 11 missed.
Yeah.
You got 12, 13, missed it in 14, and missed it in 17 and 18.
Right. I think a lot of people pointed out the frustration with that 2013 team not going farther in the tournament with Zeller, Oladipo, Holt, Swafford.
They ran into a matchup problem.
Yeah.
Syracuse has a matchup problem for any. Syracuse is one of those teams. They have hopes and praise he gets in the tournament, and then they're going to do damage.
Yeah.
Because their style of play.
Exactly, and I think people were frustrated at that. And then Fred Glass came out with a comment into the 2017 team that did not make the tournament. Came out game 1, beat Kansas, and did some good things like that with Thomas Bryant, James Blackman, OG Anunoby. I think, and he pointed out, he said there was 3 guys that were drafted that were on that team and they missed the tournament. But if you look back on, I mean, is James Blackman considered a draft pick? He's playing in Europe.
He didn't get drafted.
And then OG and Thomas Bryant, OG got hurt at the beginning of Big Ten play at Penn State. And then I don't know how many programs across the country, unless you're like a Kentucky that plans, or like a Duke, somebody like that. But, you lose Yogi Ferrell, your best player. You lose Troy Williams, your second best player. You lose Nick Zeisloft, who was a huge factor for IU in that 2016 team, who, I think he was very underrated. And then just with leadership with Max Biefeld, too. And then losing OG to injury. That's 5 guys. And then you just, it was just frustrating to me when it happened. And I understand the frustrations with Green, and I get it. I'm not saying Tom Green is the savior, the best coach absolutely you could have on a team for Indiana, but it's frustrating to see, you go down after you hire a new guy who's supposed to help make it all better. And when you see year to year, this first 2 years have just gotten worse and worse. It's especially and I think you just gain more talent after his first year, and you're worse than you were the year before.
I always go back to the sayings, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Be careful what you wish for, because I'm looking at their Sweet 16 appearances since the year 2000. They had 02, of course, when they were runner-up to Maryland.
That's kind of fluky, too. They were 5 seed.
Yeah. Got hot. Yeah, had some lucky breaks, which you have to have happen.
Didn't really play anybody either outside of Duke and Oklahoma. Big wins.
Kent State,
Antonio Gates,
NC Wilmington.
Yeah. So down to then they had 12, 13, and 16. So went through a 10-year gap from 02 through 12 where he didn't make Sweet 16. So and then Elite 8, it's 02 and then back to 93, 92. So it's just interesting. You brought up. It's
just that identity.
There's so many IU fans that are stuck in the Bob Knight era.
Yeah,
Bob Knight era, folks, has been over since 01.
You still find people that are like, Bobby would have yelled at these guys. I got him going. It's like
not now. he did half the things he did now. He'd be fired instantly.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine if Twitter was around when Bob Knight was head coach?
I know. It's just great.
Or Lou Henson, or even Gene Katie.
Lou Henson was a great person.
They would all get fired. They would have all got fired, man.
Yeah, I understand IU's history. I understand their prestige. I understand the program that it is, and that's why people have high expectations for them. But I think also you kind of have to have a reality check at the same time. But I also think with the talent that Archie currently has at IU, they are underachieving, and there's not signs of progress.
No.
Right, and that's probably the most frustrating thing right now across the board. Losing 4 straight at home is with this talent is, to To me, it's unacceptable.
Yep.
Sorry, I said a lot.
No, you're good. Get it out, man. That's what this show's for. Get it out. So
we all get to talk for an hour about our teams, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, Jamie and your line are a little bit of a roll. Good home overtime win over Rutgers and a huge upset win against the Spartans last week. Talk about your line a little bit.
They have won 3 in a row and 5 of their last 8.
They wouldn't be playing on Wednesday.
If they were to finish like 8th, it'd be the first time they've finished that high in the Big Ten in 4 years. So good stuff. But they became the first Big Ten school ever to have a freshman win Big Ten Player of the Week and a separate freshman win Big Ten Freshman of the Week in the same week. It happened last week. Georgie, my boy, Bishanishvili, spell it.
No, I can't even say it.
Won Big Ten Player of the Week after his 35-point record-setting outburst against Rutgers. He broke all-time single or career scoring leader Deion Thomas's record for points by a freshman in a game at the University of Illinois. Georgie, I've talked a little bit about his story. Really cool story. Tough upbringing in the Republic of Georgia. His mom had to work multiple jobs to provide for him and his brother, and his outlet was dancing. And he loved to dance. And if you want to do yourselves a favor, YouTube Georgie Bishanishvili. I'm not even going to attempt to spell it. Dancing at the Maui Invitational this year. It's hilarious.
You could probably just type in Georgie at Maui Invitational.
Yeah, Georgie Maui Invitational, and that'll get you to his great dance moves. But he moved to Austria when he was, I think, 11 or 12, and that's where he picked up basketball. Then moved to the States, to New Jersey, played high school basketball at St. Patrick High School in New Jersey. Brad Underwood told the story after their game on Saturday that him and lead assistant Orlando Antigua flew out to New Jersey to watch St. Patrick High School against another team. They were actually recruiting somebody else from his team, Valdir Manuel or something like that. He ended up at St. John's or Seton Hall, something like that. But after watching one quarter, Brad leaned over to Orlando and said, "We're offering this Georgie kid a scholarship." Set up an official visit in March. He committed. His only other committable offer at that time was Hofstra. He was only averaging 9 points a game as a senior at St. Patrick High School. The fan base was pissed. They were so mad after the way the season ended. Then your best player, LeRon Black, decides to jump pro. Your heralded recruit, Mark Smith, who caused a crap ton of problems, decides to leave. But we all thought he'd have really high ceiling and be their superstar of the future. And they had 3 other contributors decide to leave. And so we're sitting here thinking, what in the world are they doing? Taking a commitment from this no star who only other offer, as I said, was Hofstra. Now we're sitting here 11 months later, and he, if the season ended today, would be an absolute lock for the all-freshman team. He's averaging over 14 points a game in conference play while shooting 60% from the floor, which is second in the whole Big Ten. And I think once his career kind of progresses, we could kind of look at this guy like we do Ethan Happ right now. I think they're fairly similar, the way they can finish with both hands. Yep. Happ's a little more athletic and quicker, but Georgie's a much better outside shooter. And I think Georgie could end up potentially being one of the highest leading scorers in Illinois history. And then kind of transitioning to Ayo Dosunmu, who right now the season ended would be an absolute lock for the all-freshman team. No, he doesn't get...
Okay, so what 5 makes all-freshman team?
I would say Romeo, Iggy, Ayo, Georgie, and then probably like a Jalen Smith or Wieskamp.
I was going to say Wieskamp.
Yeah. Would probably be it's a good freshman class. I mean, you have Oturo and that shooter, Kalashar from Minnesota. Michigan State doesn't really have a guy. Purdue doesn't really have a guy that would be
Travion. I don't think he would make it.
There's no way.
Yeah. I think he's a big.
Just because there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
But Ayo second. I mean, he doesn't get the praise of Romeo or Iggy Brastakis. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, Romeo's top 5 recruit. Going to be a lottery pick. Iggy's on one of the best teams in the country. But Ayo's been every bit as good as both of those guys. He's second in the Big Ten among all freshmen in scoring during conference play, only behind Romeo. But he's number 1 in assists per game, steals per game, assist to turnover rate. ratio, and he's playing great defense. I mean, he shut James Palmer down to 6 of 20 shooting, held Amir Coffey to like 2 of 13 shooting. He's guarding the other player's best guard and forced 9 turnovers off of Cassius Winston. So if he comes back, which is a little scary at this point because he's a projected first-round pick on both ESPN and Draft Express, I think they could be pretty special next year. Add in, have Trent Frazier become a junior, who last year he was do everything. I mean, he'd keep him in games with some of his scoring outbursts. Yeah, he had to. And this year he's kind of taking a back seat to Io, and, instead of sulk and be pissy like Mark Smith was last year when Frazier did the same thing to him, Frazier said, you know what, I'm going to go bust my ass on defense. And he's held a lot of good point guards to very little on offense this year. So good culture, guys, and I think they can be pretty special next year if everyone comes back.
Who does the line I have this week?
They have one game this week. It's at Ohio State, 7 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. I don't think they win their road games the rest of the year, but they have 3 winnable home games coming up against like Penn State, Northwestern. They have Indiana at home, and they have at Penn State left. So
some chances to get some more.
Hopefully they can get some momentum, head into the Big Ten tournament. Now, I saw on a message board, I think yesterday, somebody asked the question, is the NCAA tournament out of the question if we keep playing like this?
The bubble is weak this year.
You're 9-15.
The bubble is weak.
Calm down. But and as you guys know, I've never wavered from the Brad Underwood is going to turn this program around, and a lot of people have. Message boards, but he really tore the roster up and is starting to get his guys, and you know what? Hopefully it's starting to click, and this is kind of the first stretch where there's a reason for optimism heading forward.
Say the J-Man's Twitter handle kind of gave up in December.
Well, I gave up on the season. I mean, they were
season. Yeah.
They were 4-12, 0-5 in the Big Ten, and now we're sitting here winners of 5-8 with wins over Maryland, Minnesota, Michigan State.
The M's.
The M's. And then add in a very improving Rutgers team, which you would know. I mean, they really handed it to Indiana.
They're getting a lot better
in the second half, and Nebraska's just
can't shoot.
Imploded in on themselves.
At all.
Speaking of bad offense, Nebraska in Northwestern, the ends, terrible offensively. But look, I'm kind of hoping this season will just hurry up and end. We can get to next year.
Is this true? I saw this, and I think I even sent it to you. I heard Underwood say in that under 4 timeout against Michigan State, this is the program-defining moment, or some along those lines. This could turn the program. I just think that's such a cool thing to say to guys to motivate them in that timeout.
Illinois does this all-access thing, and they only put the videos up after wins. But where they go in the huddle and like they go in the locker room after the game and they're all celebrating and all that. But and you couldn't really hear Underwood, but you could read his lips were set. I think it was a tie game with about 3.5 minutes left. It was the final media timeout, and he said, "This is where we become a program. This is a program-defining 3 minutes. Let's go out there and win this thing," and they did.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. My Boilers keep rolling, at least for the moment.
We have to talk about Purdue. I was kind of hoping we took up enough time where we wouldn't have to hear you talk about
this might end up being the longest Tana J-Man show episode we've ever recorded, but which is good. Good content this evening. I won't talk about them too much because if you want to listen to them, you can go check out the Boiler Breakdown. Evan Webb, who's been a guest on the show, and I do that every week, talk about Purdue sports. That's the main reason we started this extra spin-off, just so Josh didn't have to hear me talk about them every week. But I want to talk about them a little bit. I mean, they won 8 straight, beat Nebraska home the other night by 19. But the big thing, which is hard for me to wrap my head around, was this team was 6-5 after they lost in the Crossroads Classic to Notre Dame. In the bracket NCAA tournament bracket committee, I don't know what you want to call them, comes out with the top 16 teams as of right now on Saturday. They're the 9th overall. They're the top 3 seed team. I thought they'd be on the 4 line, like 14th, 15th, 16th, and they were 9th. I think a lot of that's got to do with the strength of schedule, ranked number 4 nationally. And
Illinois is number 2.
Are they number 2? I thought they showed the Big Ten the other day.
According to Kim Palm, which is
they showed the Big Ten strength of schedule the other day, and Purdue was the only one in the top 10 of the Big Ten. But but and I think a lot of those battle tests they had in the non-conference helped them get ready for the conference schedule. But with that said, they got a toughie tomorrow at College Park against Maryland. It's a pick'em game. Purdue got the better of them early in December, and Mackey by 2 points. And, yeah, Maryland's a different team than they were then, but so is Purdue. Purdue had no Travion Williams at all. Then he didn't play. Evan Boudreaux was playing. And other guys weren't playing as well as they are now. So, I mean, no, Joe Eastern was not hitting free throws like he is now. He's up to 60-some% on the season, which is a far cry from the 30-some% he was in December.
He was far more likable when he was bricking free throws.
He's turned into a pretty darn good basketball player. He's had double-double 3 the last 4 games. He's kind of produced glue guy. He guards the other opposition's best player. I mean, he can't shoot, but he can drive. He can rebound.
He's a good glue guy.
Yeah.
Is this Matt Painter's best coaching job of his tenure at Purdue?
Oh, yeah. I would say yes. I think he's almost a lock for Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, I would say that.
I think he is.
And if they happen to win the Big Ten, which is still there's a lot of work to do, he might be National Coach of the Year.
Yeah, looking at this roster, I mean, it's not like super good.
Yeah.
And you have probably the Big Ten Player of the Year in Carson.
Yeah, Cashwitz is up there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Hap up there.
Yeah.
Up there.
And then after that, you have you have just good role players.
They've had guys step up. Klein stepping up, making shots. I mean, no jail. Matt Harms off the bench. Travion Williams. Even some of the freshmen. Aaron Wheeler's kind of started to taper off, but he was hitting shots for a while. Grady Eifert, 17 points Saturday night. Career game, didn't miss a shot against Nebraska. And you never saw that coming out of him out of the walk-on. He just does the little thing. So I think this team really enjoys playing with each other, too. I'm not sure you can say the same about Indiana. I could be totally wrong with that. But that came from Dan Dockage. He said to his eyes, Indiana didn't enjoy playing with each other. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Dan Dockage has many opinions.
Yes, he does. But, no, I'm very excited where Purdue's headed. If they win tomorrow, I think they got a pretty good chance. I mean, they got tough road games. They have more road games than they do home games coming down the stretch. I think they got a pretty good chance at least to get a tie of the Big Ten title if they win tomorrow night, because Michigan State will still play each other twice. And Michigan goes on the road, I believe, to Maryland. Maybe they host Maryland this weekend.
Who?
Michigan.
Oh, Michigan.
So, I mean, there's still some other tough games Michigan State have to play where Purdue's done with those teams. And really, as of right now, Maryland's their last ranked team they play here on in. But it's going to be a dogfight.
The way Illinois playing, they're going to be ranked by the time they –
I'm glad they got him at Mackey. I'm glad they got him at Mackey.
The Illinois message board is delusional enough to think that.
You guys going to go ahead and pick some Big Ten games, and then we'll pick some top 25 games and start putting a bow on this?
Yes.
Let's do it.
And J-Man, you have not done your book of prediction.
It's coming.
I'm just reminding you. So, well, tomorrow night, the game I just talked about, number 12 Purdue at number 24 Maryland. It's a pick'em game, and I'm guessing this is Josh.
This will be the J-Man's bucket prediction of the week. The Boilers are rolling, and they keep on rolling with a win in College Park, Maryland.
I absolutely hate when you do this stuff
Reverse
because
psychology.
Psychology.
Psychiatry. Andy Dwyer.
And that is the J-Man's Book of Prediction of the Week, sponsored by Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent Travis Watering. Here's a little blurb about what insurance coverages Travis will offer you. All right, Cam, you throw a prediction for tomorrow's game.
I'm going to go Boilers, and I'm going to go close game. I'm going to go Boilers, maybe even an overtime game. I think it's going to be real close.
By 1.
I'm going Maryland, a close one. I just Fernando and Smith have me worried. Purdue shut them down the first time. I don't know how they're going to do it this time. I can see Travion getting 2 fouls quick.
It's a really early, like 6:30 Eastern.
Yeah.
Maryland doesn't have many people show up anyway, and at 6:30 on a weekday, I think the students will be there. But the rest of the crowd will be a little sparse.
Got another really good one in the Big Ten tomorrow night, another pick'em game between 2 ranked teams. Number 11, Michigan State travels to the Kohl Center to face number 20, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is rolling right now besides losing on Saturday.
That probably took them out of the Big Ten race, though, I would guess.
Yeah. They play really, really well at home. Brad Davison is the most unlikable Big Ten player since Aaron Kraft. Would you guys agree? Agree with me?
Yeah,
agree.
Absolutely.
I'll
I'll throw Sheehy in there.
Brad Davison is far worse than he ever was.
Heard
He's only
somebody
a
call him
freaking
the new Grayson Allen.
Yeah. He's like a Grayson Allen mixed with like Aaron Kraft.
Yeah.
Just general awfulness.
Who are you picking?
Give me
Have to reel it back in there.
give me Michigan State on the road.
I'm taking.
my mind.
You really buttered that up.
I know I did.
I'm taking Sparty on the road.
F Izzo, I'm going with Greg Gard, the Badgers.
Language. I gotta get the bleep button out.
You're one to talk. Number 6, Michigan, 7-point favorites in the Bryce Jordan Center. Can we smell upset at all?
No.
No.
Michigan rolls. I will say this is probably the deepest I've ever seen the Big Ten. Penn State's dangerous at 1-10 or whatever they are in conference play.
Yeah, I like
But
Michigan, but
give me the
it wouldn't
rolls.
shock me if it's by 10 points or less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It wouldn't
I
shock me.
agree. Taking Michigan.
Rutgers at really Northwestern Wednesday night.
Man, give me Rutgers, especially after the way Northwestern lost on Sunday.
Heartbreaking.
Blowing a 15-point lead with 4.5 minutes left.
They got Bohannon.
Bohannon drilled that 3. I think Rutgers goes in there. They're physical. They play defense. Their offense was hitting everything on Saturday, annoyingly so. But I think they go into Evanston, and Northwestern just kind of phones it in the rest of the
I
year.
think Chris Collins should be on the hot seat.
Absolutely.
I got Rutgers, man. They're as Josh said, they're playing a lot better basketball. I think their program's on the up. I think Northwestern with Collins is even a little bit on the way down. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take Rutgers on the road.
He hasn't taken advantage of making that tournament run a couple years ago. They got great brand new facilities, some of the best in college sports really now, and it just doesn't seem to be clicking. I don't know. So I'm going to take Rutgers as well.
I think Steve Peichel is one of the better coaches in the Big Ten.
Oh, we heard your love fest for him last
Dude,
week
I
when you
love
said next 3 years.
He's
NCAA
great.
tournaments. So, Minnesota at Nebraska Wednesday night for the nightcap.
I don't know Nebraska still has a shot if they go on a run, but I just don't see it. I think Minnesota goes in there and wins. Nebraska, I will go on record. There's dumb prediction time. As always, Nebraska doesn't reach 65 points the rest of the year in a game.
Wow.
Is Tim Miles gone?
Yeah,
after this year?
I said it before Copeland even got hurt. If they didn't make tournament, he's gone. Because this is a team, a lot of experts had second or third in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
If you're that talented, I know you lose your second best player. That hurts. You
They
still
had
gotta
already
find a
lost
way.
like 4 in a row by
Yeah.
the time that happened.
Yeah.
I think he is.
I think Minnesota. I think
Close one.
Yeah, I think Minnesota goes in and beats Nebraska.
I think they need to because I think their coach should be on the hot seat if they don't make the tournament. So I think Minnesota wins in a close one. Illinois at Ohio State on Thursday.
What's that line? They have it yet?
They don't have it yet, at least on my app.
I would say Buckeyes probably about 5.5 or 6 point favorite. Give me the Buckeyes at home. They had a big win on Sunday against Indiana. I just don't think Illinois can get it done on the road. They haven't proven they can. Their only win away from Champaign was in Madison Square Garden. They play a lot better at home, as most teams do in the Big Ten, let's be honest. But I just don't see them going into Columbus, Ohio, and getting a victory. I do think it'll be decided by less than 10 points, though.
I think Ohio State. I think they ride the momentum. I think they're just a little bit too talented for Illinois right now.
I think Ohio State gets it done. I like the 10 points or less. I'll tell you right now, whoever plays Ohio State round one of in the tournament, assuming they make it, I'm taking their opponent. I don't think this is a good team. I think they got hot early. That's going to help them make the tournament ultimately. I think Holman's a good coach,
Yeah.
but they got great, really good recruiting class. Best in Big Ten coming in next year. So.
Yeah, they have a chance to be the best team in the conference next year.
Yeah.
They only lose C.J. Jackson, but they had D.J. Carton from Bettendorf, Iowa, who's a borderline 5-star point guard, and then E.J. Liddell from East St. Louis.
They got the
coming
best
in.
player from Ohio, Iowa, and Illinois.
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
next year.
They're going to be good.
They're going to be good.
On Saturday, we got a whole slate full of games. Got a good one at noon, 24 Maryland at number 6 Michigan.
Give me Michigan at home.
I'm going to take Michigan.
I'm going to take Michigan, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them slip up either against them or Penn State this week. I think they're going to drop one besides Michigan State. I think them and Michigan State split, but I think they drop one because they haven't been playing the greatest lately.
Does Indiana host them?
They already got smacked by them. That was one.
No, in Indiana.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was like 19-0.
It was,
Yeah, because
They started off on a 17-0 run.
17-0 run. Yep, I remember it was my birthday.
Indiana at Minnesota.
Give me the Well, the Gophers. I was about to call them the Timberwolves. Give me the Gophers at home.
Derrick Rose takes over. And,
It's tough to play in the
It
burn.
is.
I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Is this a place IU's played well historically? Or no, I can't remember. The barn.
Not really.
No.
They've tend to struggle in the barn. They got a couple surprising ones in there, but overall they've struggled there.
I'm taking Minnesota. This IU team just not a good funk right now.
Yeah.
But Penn State at Purdue on Saturday.
Give me the Boilers big.
Boilers.
Yeah, they struggled at Happy Valley. Escaped with one. I think they get this one done pretty easily Saturday. Iowa at Rutgers. Could Iowa be on upset alert?
They could, but I don't see it happening. I like this. I don't like it. I think this Iowa team's good, and they go in there and get her done.
I think Iowa beats Rutgers at Rutgers.
Iowa could shoot the ball. That can usually travel from gym to gym. They're not the greatest defensive team, but yeah, I think this Iowa team's dangerous come Big Ten tournament and in the NCAA tournament.
Have a chance next year to be one of the best teams in the
Yes.
conference, returning pretty much everybody.
And then the nightcap's a boring one, 8:30 Northwestern at Nebraska.
You're not going to tune into that one?
No.
Nebraska's going to get a win, finally, at home against a bad team in their own right.
Both teams are reeling. I think Nebraska just because they're at home.
That's pretty much my only reason.
I agree with both. Yeah, if they don't get this one winner, they got to get a win. Then Sunday, CBS, back-to-back Sunday CBS games for Ohio State as they travel to Michigan State.
Michigan State by 14.
I think Michigan State's got that one.
I think Sparty rolls.
Roll.
Josh's favorite team, the Butler Bulldogs. They had a good win at Georgetown over the weekend. They're right there on the bubble.
A lot of people I've seen have them as like the first four out.
They're right there. Big one Tuesday night at St. John's.
The Johnnies have started to struggle a little bit, but
They're still 17-7.
I don't think Butler goes in there and gets her done. Chris Mullins pulls out all the stops and beats the Butler team.
St. John's. I don't like Butler though.
I don't like Butler on the road here. I think Pons goes off for a good game.
Shamori.
And then Butler does host DePaul Saturday night, 8 o'clock.
Butler easy. DePaul's improved.
They got some good recruits coming in next year.
They still suck.
I'll take Butler in that one.
I like Butler at home. But then we'll guess.
A few of them, not all of them, please.
Oh boy, this is gonna get ugly. Thursday night, the Irish go at number 4 Virginia.
Ooh, Virginia smacked them at home.
Notre Dame lost last week to Miami. I think they did beat Georgia Tech.
Terrible Miami.
They're 13-11.
Give me the Who.
Which game was it?
Notre Dame, Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah, I think Virginia rolls easily in the. Yeah, so ranked teams.
We only do a few of these, please.
We'll fly through these.
Pick and choose.
Well, tonight there's a game at half right now. Number 4 Virginia leads number 8 North Carolina at Carolina at half by 7, 36-29.
Give me Virginia.
Who's?
Carolina comes back and gets it done. I'm just gonna be different. Number 14 Kansas at TCU tonight. TCU's favorite.
Oh, Kansas on the road. TCU coming off a big road win at Iowa State over the weekend.
Take Kansas.
Number 19 LSU travels to number 5 Kentucky tomorrow.
Kentucky's rolling. They beat Mississippi State over the weekend. That is the only SEC team John Calipari has never lost to. Is Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Taking the Wildcats.
Yeah, Kentucky. Number 2 Duke at number 16 Louisville tomorrow.
Duke by 12.
I'm going to go Louisville.
That place will be rocking. I think Duke gets it done in a close one. They're 6.5-point favorites. That's pretty high, I would say.
On the road.
Number 18 Kansas State, newly ranked at Texas. Texas 3-point favorite tomorrow night.
Give me Brucey's boys. They are rolling. They have a legitimate shot to finally knock off Kansas. They have a, game-and-a-half lead at the current juncture. Juncture, is that a word? Junction. Give me Kansas State.
I think Kansas State too. I think Shaka Smart might be gone,
I think he's gone
after this year. They haven't really shown much since he's been there. So, I give me Kansas State.
I like Kansas State as well, and I picked them to go to Final Four. My preseason pick, so I got to keep picking them. Thursday night, interesting one here. You got a former Indiana coach and Calvin Sampson In its 23-1, Houston Cougars ranked number 9. They traveled to UConn Thursday night.
Cougars rolling. UConn has not been great this year under first-year head coach. It's Dan, right? Bobby's in Arizona State. Dan Hurley, give me the Cougs. Cougs could be a potential Final Four team this year.
They choked so bad against Michigan last year in the tournament.
Jordan Poole.
They had them beat.
Former IU guy, Devin Davis.
Missed free throws.
Man, they could have had them beat.
Yep.
Who do you like in that game, Cam?
Oh, I'm taking Houston.
You know, I'm gonna go with an upset. UConn's 12-2 at home, so they've only won one game on the road this year. But I'll go UConn at home. And let's see if we got any other good games here this weekend. Number 23, Iowa State at 18, Kansas State on Saturday.
Give me the Wildcats rolling.
Sam.
I'll take the Wildcats at home. Game day's going to this one. Number 1, Tennessee at number 5, Kentucky.
Ooh. Tennessee gets knocked off. Kentucky has a good week this week.
So I agree. I think Kentucky gets it done.
Yeah,
I agree with
I think Kentucky
I disagree. I think Tennessee goes in and beats.
I think Kentucky beats them as well. And I've said this before. I think Tennessee's one of those teams that can get upset in the second round NCAA tournament. I know they're very athletic and good.
Yeah, and
they just have that feeling to me.
Playing an 8 or 9 seed as soon as they get a 1.
They just have a feeling like out of the 4 number 1 seeds right now, Duke, Gonzaga, Tennessee, and
Virginia.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's the weakest one.
I agree.
By far. So
I agree.
Birdie Bogey.
Yeah, so Kobe White over the weekend scored 33 points for the second time this year, which is technically its second most ever. For freshmen at North Carolina, 2 guys have 40. Can you name both of those fellas?
2 guys scored 40 points as a freshman.
At North Carolina in the past. It's been in the past 15 years.
There's just so many names that come to mind because so many good players.
My first guess is Rashad McCants.
That deeply hurts me that you guessed him. What's your second one?
I was thinking him too.
Oh, I thought you were going to say. I don't have a second one prepared. I was either thinking like Sean May or.
Just keep picking that 05 team.
I know. I just want to.
Those
Ty Lawson.
Those freaking refs let Sean May's big ass do whatever.
Wait, Ty Lawson was later in 05. Raymond Felton.
Marvin Williams.
That was a good freaking team.
Yeah, it was.
I'm going to throw out Harrison Barnes.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Hansbrough didn't score 40. Man.
What was that one team that was that their 09 team that was real good with like Hansbrough, Ty Lawson, Danny Green,
something like
Deion Thompson, those guys.
I don't even know. Last 15 years, I'm trying to think of another guy.
McCants was really the only one I really wanted to guess.
Jason Forte wouldn't have been the last 15 years.
No.
Haywood wouldn't have been the last 15 years. God, I'm going way back in the early 2000s. Harrison Barnes and I'll go Ty Lawson. I don't know.
Yeah.
You have 2 guesses, one other than McCants?
Oh, I said Ty Lawson too.
Oh, you
that was
did?
another guess, yeah.
Ty Lawson did not do it. Harrison Barnes did that.
Hey,
He scored 40. And Psycho T did it.
I thought
Psycho T was the other one.
I didn't think he scored
I didn't think he would either.
Twice?
Yeah.
I thought 30, sure, but
Yeah.
He scored 40 once.
okay. But he did score so many points in his career. So
I just wanted to name that 05 team.
Oh, me too. I love it. So, any final thoughts, Cam? Thanks for joining us again, man.
No, thanks for having me. Sorry I talked a whole bunch
Hey.
about IU. But I love the show. Listen to the show. It's great. These guys know more about sports than about anybody I know.
We have no lives.
So, yeah, it's good listening. I love being on here. Love talking sports. So, yeah.
And you can now watch on YouTube. So thank you to everybody who watched tonight. Appreciate it.
So, you're no longer Grace College head baseball coach. Tell everyone what you're going to do next.
I'm currently going to be a scout for a company called Evolution Metrics. Just work with different teams and basically kind of find in between the cracks draft picks it's more of a database company. So starting that in March, really looking forward to it. Going to be just mainly around the area, smaller Division I schools, some NAIA schools, and some high schoolers. So looking forward to it.
Cool, man. It's going to be exciting.
Living the dream.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And once again, thank you to everybody that watched on YouTube. We're going to try to do this every week. YouTube Live on the Tan and J Man Show's YouTube channel. Go check that out. And thanks for listening. Whether you listen on SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Google Play, pretty much anywhere. Hopefully soon, iHeartRadio. And you can, of course, like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter at Tan and J Man Show, and follow us on Instagram at The Tan and J Man Show. And with that said, we'll be back next Monday for Rochester's #1 sports podcast for episode 118 of the Tan and J Man Show. Have a good week, everybody.